stick-em note that says record. Yeah, and I love that you're sitting with the world behind you, and that it's you made it your color, which is what is so Nina. You just show up in your color, and the world is you, because it manifests through who you are. And you've done so much to make our world such a beautiful color in the midst of the difficulty and the complexities of the problems and the crises and all that we're facing right now. You know,
it's interesting. So for me to be able to see the overview of the potential of what goodness can come from it, and it's like Tai Chi, and at the same time identify with all the suffering and deal with that too. So it's a dance between the two worlds of carrying what you believe, and then at the other hand seeing, you know, what's happening in front of you.
And that's what's so inspirational for you about me. I mean, that's what's so
cute. I love it. That's good. That's good.
Well, I guess I couldn't see it in you if it somewhere didn't exist in me, but you're the one that's like showing me, and through that discovery and disclosure of the leader that you are, you pull that out of people. And we all have it, right? And that's what I so admire about you. But as I was trying to put into words, what is so inspiring about you for me is that you're this confluence of, and as you put it, a dance between these, not just these two worlds of crises and keeping the vision alive, but being a dynamic visionary. And for me, that means, and we were talking about this the other day, weren't we? We were talking about Dot Maver, actually, about how she is this rare combination of keeping the vision and also boots on the ground, getting stuff done. And that's you as well. And you need to hold the vision. You need to be in both of those ponds at once. You need to be keeping both feet dancing in those ponds. But there's another confluence about you, Nina, that I'm hyper aware of. And that is between the maiden, mother, crone characteristics.
I passed through all of them.
You're all of these things at once, because you can get this hard work done and have these difficult conversations and go right into the most difficult conflict zones, where we're going to talk about that, I hope, in a play with a playful heart, without disrespecting the difficulty, but.
Right. So I believe in empathy and compassion for all human beings, no matter what. I'm always willing to support a human being in their process. And I don't judge them for who they are, but accept that wherever you are, that's where you are. And, you know, not that I'm so great, but when I'm in a positive manner, I can help somebody. When I'm down, forget it, you know? And so I want to make clear, we all have our ups and we all have our downs. That's reality. You know, as Buddha said, life is suffering. The question is how to deal with it. Yeah. And so it's a detaching, seeing it, and being able to walk through it without identifying totally what it is. You know, and when I think of the Ukraine issue, I mean, I get visuals of the potential and what it means. Last night, I had this funny idea. I heard that Putin was ill. I don't know if it's true or not, but if he has cancer, and then I imagine if he died, and Navalny got out of prison and would become the next president of Russia. And then Zelensky and him got together and made a unity. You know, it would be a beautiful story. So I can make up stories in my mind. You know? But really, when I see Zelensky, he's the light of the future. He really speaks truth to power, and he has a very clear message. And his big message at the UN was that we need to have an official peace and security operation office prior to any country getting into war. And it makes a lot of sense. I know many people have been working on this for a long time, but he advocated it and offered Ukraine as his facility, you know, to make it happen. So we know how he stands. So how do we support him? And then I see people, you know, dying, and I see people at the border and all of that. And yet I believe in the foreverness of life. So I deal with the suffering because you always give a hand to someone that's fallen on the ground, yeah? But on the other hand, knowing it's part of life's process. Just like I'm going to be 80 next week, you know? Yeah, that's a big number, but you know, I can be all the things that you said, because when I was in Ukraine or when I'm working on something, I have no age. It's just like it comes through me. I have to do it, and I do whatever I have to do. But like when I came back from Ukraine last time, you know, then I released and became a broken old woman. I got COVID, and I could see myself shrivel. You know, it was like,
you had to contract.
Yes.
You had to contract because you expanded so far. Now it's time to come back, and that's where you can do your healing. It's like the cycles of the moon. Even you can even you know, you can even say, okay, I was out here, I was illuminating, I was doing good work, and now I got to come back and care for myself and fall apart a little.
Exactly.
Can I ask you about, okay, so the conflict happens, it makes the news, Russia's attacked Ukraine. How long did it take you to get on a plane and start the teddy bear project again?
In 2 days.
In Poland. 2 days. I know Nina's in Poland.
I don't know why. I mean, the good fortune is that I'm meant to go there, because we've spent 6 years of work gardening to develop the One Humanity Institute in Oswiecim. So that was a project I've been working on, but I had no intention of going now or anything. And then I was on a phone call, and I think you know, what's James Twyman? They call him Father
James.
He was saying he was going to Poland, and the next thing I heard out of my mouth is, "I'm going too." And I went, "Oh, you're going to, Nina?" Oh, yeah. So I called up 2 people I wanted to go with me, because I felt alone. I can't be that effective. And I wanted us to feel strong. And I selected 2 people that I thought could do the work on their own, and yet collaboratively we would be a force to contend with. And it really was that. We worked miracles. We had no idea where we were going, where we were sleeping, who we were going to see, where the border is, anything. But we did everything we needed to do. We were guided totally into the right places. And decision-making was so easy. When somebody said, "No, we're doing this," we went, "Okay, we're doing that." You know, there was no discussion even. We really operated as one, because we were on a mission. And I think when you're on a mission, you don't spend a lot of time, blah, blah, blah. You just do what you needed to do. And we started out with 25 teddy bears and some art supplies. We've now handed out 1,400 on a one-to-one basis, you know, not just stockpiling them and leaving it.
No,
I mean, we wrote companies, but now we've gotten a reputation, and they're sending us bears all the time. So that's one piece of it. But what we heard from everybody was, "Where do I sleep tonight?" And that's frightening. That's, you know, I saw a young girl, 18 years old, maybe, holding a little baby in her arms, just like, "Where do I go? What do I do?" You know?
Right.
Now that's where you just respond. Yeah. So we have that building in Oswiecim and quickly turned it into believing we could house Ukrainians and offer trainings of what they could do, entrepreneurship and trauma healing and things like that. So that's what we're in the process of. We have 1 or 2 apartments ready. We have volunteers there that have been working. There's one volunteer came 6 weeks. He'd never done any physical labor before of this kind, you know, taking wallpaper off, painting a radiator, and then at the same time writing updates for the social media and getting grants and things. I mean, people have been amazing. It's just been an incredible liftoff. So always in despair, there's this beginning of unity, and that's what we have to seize and work on all together.
Isn't it poetic that you had the bakery and, you know, these facilities intended for the use of the One Humanity Institute's original vision to create a peace institute originally adjacent on the grounds of Auschwitz? I had the honor of being there with you and walking through Auschwitz with you, and Birkenau, and with the intention of providing a place to have peace studies at the epicenter of man's capacity for, you know, just absolute horror and destruction of another human being. And yet now we have a new crisis, and you put that place to good use.
Well, and it's also, we show what it means to be united as one humanity. I mean, it could be Ukrainians, it could be Syrians, it could be our collective humanity. We respond to the moment, of course. And so if you look at how Auschwitz on the other side, death and destruction and murder, and then we're into survival, living, and thriving.
Right. So you do have that experiential learning center, basically, you know, in real life, and the empowerment you're offering and the leadership you're offering to those volunteers to show up in ways that they didn't know that they even had the capacity for.
Right.
And that's really extraordinary.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody watching this, I want them to know where they can go to support you.
Great. We have a website now. It's called www.onehumanity.institute. Otherwise, you can go to PayPal, but just that way. And we're taking volunteers. If you can commit for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you know, to come and want to do work on the ground, you're more than welcome to talk to us. Plus, we're looking for an administrator that we can salary somehow that can do that kind of work and really organize people and orchestrate what has to happen next, because we're all doing it, but it's pretty piecemeal. It'd be fabulous if we had someone there.
Oh, great. That's a good PSA to put out right now. And I'll make sure that this gets out far and wide for that purpose. And all the information will be down below in this video recording. You know, speaking of dancing in both worlds, you know, while you're boots on the ground, while you're in the triage mode, basically right now, healing hearts, providing housing and basic human needs, there's also the children of the earth and your work with, I love that you brought the conversation here, because you demonstrate how you say you want your children to thrive. You want your children to show up in their authentic, beautiful selves and beautify the world. And the world is your children. And you see the world as your children. You know what, when I first met you, I mean, we had been in the same room a couple of times, or at the same table, maybe once before at the UN, I believe, for International Day of Peace. But I really got to know you when we were both guests of the Seonji family in Japan. And we were getting on a tour bus to go to Mount Fuji, I think, or somewhere. And I'm looking on the bus to see who I hadn't had a chance to sit, you know, have any conversation with, because there were about 20 or so of us, maybe more. Yeah. And or maybe not that many. And and I look down and you're patting the seat next to you. And as I write about you, I say it was like a Bubby's warm embrace, or a warm invitation. And that's exactly how I felt. And before we got to our destination, I was, invited to
blah, blah, blah.
Nice. So you saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And, it offered me, the space to explore what that looked like.
And you've been a lovely friend, and I loved working with you. For me, a way to get close with a human being is when we're side by side working, whether it be in the veggie garden or on a piece of paper. But the ability to go back and forth and to agree and disagree and to tease things apart, there's a union that comes from that, of understanding, knowing each other. And I loved the process with you. I thought we did great work. I'm very appreciative, and I like you. And you're a beautiful woman. I like beautiful women. I think they're great.
Oh,
no, I think beauty's important in the world,
But you know what? And that is so you, because look at the image behind you.
Right.
The world is so Nina, and we can all wish for or work towards a Nina-esque world, one that is all gorgeous to everyone, one that we all have reverence for, that we can all see the sparkle and not the lines in the sand. And that's what you provide. And your work right now, I don't want to discount this, or I don't want to brush over this while we're talking about beautifying the world. In the midst of the crisis that you're dealing with in Ukraine, but you really need some help there, not just boots on the ground. I've used that expression 3 times, I know, in this call. I guess that's really what it requires, is really folks on the ground doing the work, but then to support them and to empower them, and then to also provide bedding and housing and wallpaper or paint or whatever it is, and our money and our resources. And maybe any connections we have in that part of the world that can support that. Yeah.
And if people have skills and they want to offer workshops via Zoom to people, to help, but you have to speak English and be able to work with Ukrainians. Most of them, especially if the younger generation, do, speak English. But, you have to have patience and meet the people where they're at and offer them something. Like we help people sign up with trauma counselors from Israel, because we realized that they would understand so well, so that they can have Zooms with them when they need it. Now, we didn't do hundreds and hundreds, but we did our part to help. And then we have translating machines also for Ukrainian to Polish for the teachers. We handed those out, and we're getting more bears. I'm going on Wednesday. I'm leaving. So more.
You'll be there on your birthday?
I'll be with my sister on my birthday. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is nice. Anyway, yes, we need a lot, and the support and the understanding of what's going on. And I believe that it's time for the change, and all of a sudden there's a lot of movement.
We all have the capacity to show up right now with what's going on. And, we know that it's going on in other places in the world as well. Right now, we have access, we have resources, we have connections. We see the impact it'll have on us directly as well. Let's not forget that. And we have to show up in every way we can. And if it's not your connections and your resources, let it be how you show up in the world right now, in your authentic being. It all matters.
Yeah.
And above all, financially is really supportive right now. I mean, let's not.
It's an exchange. We've raised almost 100,000 already from over 200 people. So it tells you a story that when you touch the hearts, because when we were looking at the vision, people wouldn't give that easily, but give them an emotional cause and they respond right there. So I want to say we respect you coming in, giving 5 to 5,000, whatever it is that you want to do, and we will take good care of your money, and we will help humanity with it.
And you can watch it happening on your Facebook page too.
That's right.
And I'll put that Facebook page down below too.
Okay, great. It's perfect.
It is. And thank you. Thank you for beautifying the world with all your beautiful parts. And
thank you.
Thank you.
And it's really a nice experience to be aging and not feel like that I use my life well and that I'm not being cast aside, but still have some kind of positioning in terms of seeing the past and understanding the future and doing my part. So I feel very fortunate, very fortunate.
Yeah. Thank you. And you show us that in ourselves. I love you. I like you. I honor you. I respect you. And I'm sorry I didn't have anything purple to wear today.
But you have flowers on, and I love flowers.
And that was why I picked this. And, you know, thank you for sitting at my table. I wish you were here in person. Yeah. It's an honor to have you. Yeah, this is as close as I could get right now, but one day soon.
Charming. Right. It's a charming idea. I love it. So have a good day.
Thank you. Onward. And happy birthday.